All right. Our next presenter is a stand-up comedian. Please welcome Mike Kaplan.
Hello. Oh, thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you to everyone that I can see and hear. If you would like, if you're in a quiet place, if you have headphones, and if there's not a lot of background noise, please do feel free to unmute yourselves and laugh when I want you to, which is almost whenever I pause. So exactly. Please don't force yourselves. It is. I want only volunteers for involuntary laughter. So who can I get? It is really an honor and a pleasure to be here. Thank you to Rachel who got me involved with this. I would like to, before I start, which I've already done, let you know I want to tell you and show you what it is that I do and or am doing. And the thing that I do is telling and or showing. And here's the thing is in this time, normally as a stand-up comedian, I perform in buildings with people. But as you might understand, that's no longer, that's like, remember the past when there were buildings? No, now there's one building only, and we're all heroes for staying in our own building. Thank you for being nowhere near me. Thank you for breathing separate air of your own volition and creation. It used to be way harder to be a hero. You know, you used to have to run into a burning building. And now just to be a hero, all you got to do is not run out of your own building. Just maybe cautiously like peer out and be like, is anyone nearby? And then, you know, you just stay away from people is the way to help people. So I'm happy to help you and thank you for helping me. So as a stand-up comedian, sometimes there was a wonderful introduction to me. We planned it in advance. Your wonderful room parent, Laura, did exactly as requested, as desired, because sometimes the introduction doesn't always go as well. Like sometimes I've performed at a number of colleges, and when I'm performing at a comedy club, it's usually a comedian introducing me, and the comedian knows how they want to be introduced, and they know how to do it because it's their life and they've done both sides of it. There's an empathy involved. And what I'm saying is that everybody who's not a comedian has no empathy, and I can't understand how that could be. So, yeah, everybody here, whatever you are, a bunch of narcissists, a bunch of sociopaths, like whoever you are, please hire me. Thank you. I'll bring all the empathy and love and compassion that you need, that you lack in your own life. Am I connecting? Is this connecting with anybody? Okay. So the point is, when I perform at a comedy club, I trust that when the host says, how would you like to be introduced? I tell them and they do it. But at a college, sometimes the student who's supposed to introduce me is nervous. And so they'll be like, this comedian, they'll often, you might not even know this if you're not a person who works in show business, comedy, entertainment, speaking. Like you might be, maybe all of you know this, but if there's just one person, if there be but one person, I don't mean to get biblical, but if there's but one righteous, confused person in this room, then I want to share with them a little tip for a comedian to be introduced is have the name be last. It happened here. It was perfect. Blah, 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 blah. Mike Kaplan. That's almost better than Mike Kaplan has done all these things, and here's what you can expect, and I don't know what I'm talking about, and I hope that I can stop talking now, and eventually at the end, it'll be, he'll come here and save me from me talking and doing all of the, So, the point is, a college student doesn't know all that. They're in college. They're learning. So what I want to do is help make it the easiest possible for the person that I'm working with to succeed. I want everyone to succeed. Like comedians, you might not think, there's a lot of people who are like, this better be funny. But a better audience is, this is gonna be funny. You know, that's when we all believe it's going to happen. That's what's happening here. We're all essentially sharing a delusion that this community exists, that a show is occurring, and because we believe it, it is true. They say believe you can or believe you can't. Either way, you'll be right. Like, I believe this is a show. I believe I'm doing comedy. And if you believe it too, who can tell us that we're not? Hecklers who aren't here, we can't hear them right now. They're muted. So it's much easier to deal with hecklers in the time. I'm not grateful for the pandemic, but I am grateful that the answer to the question, how do you deal with hecklers, is much simpler. Like, I just ask the admin or the room parent to mute them and then kick them out if they need. You know, like it's so, I wish that existed in the quote unquote real world. Hey, this is a real world too. This world is real right now, and I appreciate you being a part of it. So cut back to where we were. One of my greatest talents is finishing an idea that I started. One of them is saying the word finishing appropriately. The other one is never finishing the word finishing. I'm like, finishing. Okay, it's that's my impression of Axl Rose finishing something. Shing. That's I don't know if you guys are too young for Welcome to the Jungle, but the point is, welcome to the Pungle. Here we are, and the scene is me at a college, the student, nervous to introduce me. And what I say to them is, I will write down for you. I will write down for you exactly what you can say. And then you don't have to worry about improvising or ad-libbing. You don't have to worry about what you're saying at all. I like to think of wondering rather than worrying as well. You know, like, don't wonder, be happy. Or also do wonder. See, wondering works with everything. But don't worry, just wonder. And so here I am with the student, and sometimes I'll text them or I'll write down longhand what for them to say out instead of whatever they might be freaking out over. Like, imagine if they were in the middle of this sentence. Like, all they got to do is read this. So here is an example. Here's an example of a thing that I might offer for a college student to say as an introduction of me. Right before I do a show at a college. So this will be, now I'm gonna play the part briefly of that college student. Here it comes. So they're reading, let's say, reading from their phone. I've got, okay, so, but to be clear, I won't even hold the phone. And this is a stand-up comedian's rendition of looking at a phone. There's actually nothing on the phone. So I'm looking into your eyes. Here we go. So I am the student now. Please welcome to the stage tonight's comedian. Tonight's comedian has been seen on The Tonight Show, on Conan, on Letterman, on Corden, on The Late Late Show with Ferguson, in his own half-hour special on Comedy Central, in his own 1-hour special that is on Amazon now. He has a new album out this year called AKA, which was called Invigoratingly Funny by the New York Times. It debuted at #1 on the iTunes charts, and in addition to all of those amazing things, he was a Last Comic Standing finalist. He's been on America's Got Talent. But among those credits, with so many comedians have credits, but I, this college student, want to let you know that I care so deeply about who Mike Kaplan is and what Mike Kaplan does that I want to go off the cuff here, still reading from the phone. I want to go off book and say that this comedian is my favorite comedian in the world. This comedian is the funniest person that I've ever seen. You might have seen comedy be good before, but if you've never seen Mike Kaplan, you've never really even seen comedy. So please welcome to the stage. He actually didn't write down his name. So, and then I would come out. I want to make things easy for you. If you're an event planner, like, plan your event to be me. Plan me to help with your event. I'll meet you wherever you are. And just to be clear, this has all been the telling. Right now, behind me is a visual of myself. It's the podcast that I do called The Faucet, where if you'll see, essentially I'm coming out of the faucet, but also my hand is reaching up to turn on the faucet. So I am like an Ouroboros, but instead of a snake eating its tail, I'm like a genie wishing for itself to come out of a faucet as a stream of consciousness. And that is what I do on my podcast. It's what I do. I'll turn on and turn off as desired, in between things, before, during, after things, all possible times. But just to let you know, in the before times, when I would perform stand-up in a building and or on screens where you would watch an audience enjoy me, I just want to share briefly, also, if you have any questions or ideas or comments or sentences that you want me to finish, feel free to put them in the chat during this time, and I will, at the end at least, go back and try to address any questions that people do have. But right now, I'm going to answer the question, is there going to be something that you're sharing? And the answer is yes. I'm going to share right now, and over the course course of the next 20 minutes out of the 30 minutes that we have, a few different of my late night and or other television set appearances. And the first one is a time that I was on Letterman. So please, let's see where it is. It was there, and here it is. Oh, maybe it's not. Oh, it is 100%. Here it comes, and enjoy.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you very much. I think you guys are going to be, which is people who know the word down. Somebody who laughed, be a team. And I don't think I'm better than anybody, though. I don't want you to think. I don't think that I'm better than anybody, except for people who say things like, what, do you think you're better than me? Those are the only people that I do think I'm better than. Mainly at grammar. Better than I, technically, is what do you think? Be better than I. Not here to make friends. My grandmother was an English teacher, so growing up she would always correct me so much that I called her Grammar. And one time, this is a thing that really happened, I said, Grandma, this is really fun. And she said, no, it is much fun or lots of fun, because fun is a noun that cannot be modified with an adverb. I was like, never mind, not fun anymore.
Ruined it.
Not many funs, Grammar. Not a lot of kids are interested in learning anyway. There are a lot of bullies in school. They're like, I'll knock the books out of your hands. Now, neither of us can read. I'll break your glasses so you can't see my shame. But I lost my glasses once in the ocean one summer. Have you know that expression, like, looking for a needle in a haystack? That should be changed to, like, looking for my glasses in the ocean, because that's way harder to do for a number of reasons. Number one, basically, the haystack doesn't move at all. It's not constantly being replenished with other hay that rolls in to replace the hay. Number two, 75% of the Earth's surface, not hay. Number three, no sharks in haystacks. Number four, you can't just burn down the ocean, find what you're looking for. And number five, the main thing is when you're looking for a needle in a haystack, you can use your glasses. That's key. Thank you. Thank you. You don't even really need glasses at all anymore, because every book is made into a movie. Just go see the movie. Don't have to read books. Book people are smart, though. They're called authors. Book people, they'll re-release a book when the movie comes out, put a picture of the actor on the cover, trick people who like movies into buying books. Like, Fight Club was a book first, then a movie, and then they re-released it, and people were like, oh, Brad Pitt's in this book. So far, just words.
Yeah, more pictures of Brad Pitt.
When I was in college, I was a philosophy major. Or was I? Who can say? Hard to tell. What is philosophy? I took a class called The Philosophy of Math, where we discussed the great mysteries of mathematics, like, are there different sizes of infinity? Were numbers discovered or invented? Why can we not meet women? You know, the great mysteries of math.
I have now stopped sharing my screen. I hope that it has stopped for you the way that I wanted it to. So that's an example of me doing comedy in a room for people. And before we started, there was a question of how, as a comedian, can you do something without people responding, without people laughing? Don't you need the sweet, sweet juice of an audience reaction? And the answer is, in ways, yes, and in ways, no. In some ways, because if you were all muted, I could tell my greatest joke. I could tell any one of those jokes, and I would hear nothing. But the joke would be just as good a joke. And so now, if I say anything to you with the sheer force of delivery, with the sheer confidence of attitude and presence of mind, if I say this the same way that I deliver my greatest joke, it will get the same reaction as my greatest joke. nothing. So that is what I'm here to do. I'm here to do something in the face of potentially almost nothing. And sincerely, there are two sides of the equation. There is the performance and there is the audience. But when the audience is muted, when the audience is just listening, when the audience is at an event, like if you're at a live show, then laughter is contagious. I think that if you're at an online show where there is no audible laughter, the rapt attention is the thing that can be contagious. That people are like, wow, this guy certainly is delivering things confidently. And I'm not here just to deliver things confidently. The thing that I'm delivering is a powerful, true message that if you deliver things confidently, you don't even need a powerful, true message. But I am doing both. And so the best is both. I would love to have it all. The best is everything. If I were to be able to deliver the goods and have people respond to the goods, then I would love it. If I can only deliver and not have the response, I'll take it. If I can deliver the bads, I'll deliver the bads. If I can deliver the mediums, whatever the medium is. So that is essentially the answer to the question, which I am able to, in this time, do even more comedy than I could when I had to leave my house to go to a building. Like, number one, cut down on travel time. Number two, cut down on waiting for people to finish laughing. Just keep going. Like a lot of other comedians in this time, they are pausing for laughs. And for me, you're more going to have to rewind for laughs. That's what I would say. So that's the benefit of listening to any of my albums is you can listen, you can pause, you can rewind, you can go back. And if you hire me for a show in real life or a virtual show, you could also be, you could say, like, would you mind pausing briefly in between things? And I will say no. I am my own self and I do what I want. And but also it depends. Let's talk. So I would like to. I didn't know, honestly, how long I would talk for and how many clips I would share. But I do also want to speak to, I want to have myself from the past speak to this question of what comedy even is in today's age, in all ages. So I'm going to share another clip with you right now. And here it comes. Let's see. Did I do it? Not yet. Hold, please. Oh yeah, we're sharing the sound. We're sharing the sights. And all I have to do is hit play. And then, boy, oh boy, will you hear not me talking, but instead, me talking. Comedy is a thing that is happening right now or possibly isn't. It's very unclear. Like when you laugh, I'm like, oh, good, comedy. When you don't laugh, poetry, unclear. Like right now, setting up a joke, oh, this isn't funny yet. Is it, does comedy, here's the question. Does comedy have to be funny? Is it required to be funny in order to be comedy? Some might say yes. And they have a case, absolutely. There's, not gonna argue. Other than, it's unfair. Why is comedy the only art form or form of entertainment that must be good just to even be the thing that it is? There is no such pressure on a movie. Like you've never left a movie theater like, that was so bad. Was that even a movie? Who listens to a song like, I don't like it, that's not music? Answer, my grandmother to anything with a drum. But most people. You know what they say about jazz? They say it's all about the notes that you don't play rather than the notes that you do play. Have you heard that about jazz? If you haven't, I came up with it. Jazz, about the notes that you don't play. When I heard that, I was like, that's awesome. I'm gonna live my whole life by that mentality. Read any good books lately? Oh, I think it's more about the books that you don't read. Billions. Got a lot of money? In jazz terms, I'm a billionaire. Been on a lot of dates? Oh, I think it's more about the dates you don't go on. I'm jazzy, not lonely. Comedy's really about the laughs that I don't get. Perfect. I've stopped sharing my screen again. So, here we are. Oop, hold on. I stopped sharing it, yet it's still playing on my own screen. Ah, technology. Ah, the world. So I am going to look at the chat briefly, see if there were any questions. Mike, can you see in this clip? Great question. And I don't know which one you're talking about. Oh, yeah. It is like watching Benjamin Button. I do get younger. I'll do that as well. At the very end of this, I'll have shaved my beard in 5 minutes. So I think that's the only thing. Like, we think of people with beards as older than people without beards. But if I shave now, I would actually be older. So if I keep my beard, then I can do a lot more exercising and stay young. And that's why I'm actually growing a beard to stay young. You know, you might think that you shave off to be more aerodynamic to move around, but I can actually move faster than somebody who is shaving, if you think about that. Because they're stuck at their mirror, hopefully, or they're probably hurting themselves. To Kevin, who said, this is a great special. I really appreciate that. To my friend Lissa, thanks for, these are mostly not questions at all. I appreciate all of your statements. Thank you for asking. Here's a question from Rachel. What's some of your favorite jokes that you've written lately? Are you writing a lot of topical jokes or lighter stuff that's not COVID and 2020 stuff? Great question. I feel that I am sincerely writing more, so more of all of it. The answer is yes. I am writing things of the moment, in the moment. Example, if you're worried about running out of toilet paper, just try not pooping for several weeks if you can. And if you're worried about running out of food, try not eating. And obviously that is a joke. It will help you not poop if you don't eat. But if you, sincerely, you must eat. Eating is important, nutrition is important, health is important, but pooping's not important. So just eat, but don't poop. That's my recommendation. A question. Are there jokes that I won't perform now due to quote unquote cancel culture? I love this question because I actually don't think that anyone has been really quote unquote canceled in the way that people think it means, like, hey, they stopped having a job on that radio show and now they have to just be on satellite radio or a podcast that goes directly to their fans and they only get to do exactly what they want to do only for the people who want it and not for the advertisers or sponsors who are engaging with capitalism in the way that freedom of speech and capitalism seems like it was meant to run. But there are some comedians that are like, I want to say whatever I want and nobody can say anything. The First Amendment for comedians, which is, of course, you have the right to say whatever you want, hurt everyone's feelings, and no one's allowed to blog. That's the comedian's First Amendment. Like, there are so many comedians who are saying things today like, I want to say what I want and nobody can, I don't want to think about what other people feel. And I want to say what I want and think about what other people feel. Like, I can say exactly what I want to say, and also other people, their feelings get taken into account. In fact, that's what comedians do. The thing that a comedian does most is listen to an audience, like share what they want to say, listen to the response, and then decide again what they want to say. So there are definitely there are jokes that I've written in the past that I would never write today and I would never say today, not because of how they're received, but because of how I myself personally feel about them and have grown and changed, because like the things that I said as a child are not the things that I would say as an adult. The things that I would say as a younger, more ignorant person are things that I would not choose to say as an older, hopefully less ignorant person. And so also all that I just said there, I might not say tomorrow because maybe it was dumb. I'll check tomorrow. Let's see. Ooh, do strangers ever ask you to be funny, like Marlin the clownfish on Nemo? And do you have a standard response for that? I love this question as well. The question that often comes to comedians is, you're a comedian, tell me a joke, which isn't even a question. That's like an order, and I don't like that. You can't tell me what to do. I'll tell you to come to a building, and then I'll tell you what I'll do. But in the beginning of writing jokes, it was actually more asking jokes than telling jokes. But when people ask me to be funny, I feel like now, to answer your question, one of my skills is answering questions, eventually. And one of my other skills is never answering questions. So when people, I feel like before these times, not even just the pandemic, but before the modern era where so many people have access to comedy specials on Netflix and comedy podcasts and engaging with comedians' web series and all these different ways of learning about comedy from comedians and seeing behind the scenes. I think that where it used to be, people would say, you're a comedian, tell me a joke. Now I think people understand there's so much more comedy savvy that the question gets asked less frequently. And here's the question I get more often is, you're a comedian, tell me why you're depressed. Because they understand, they finally understand. Let's see. And do people often tell me their jokes? Great question, Rachel. And I think whoever said good question, Rachel, I upgraded you to great question, Rachel. I would say most of the time, there are people who, there's a wide range of people. The short answer is yes. And the long answer is yes, 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 and sometimes no. But I feel like the people who I want to hear jokes most from are the people who are like, I probably shouldn't tell you this because you're a comedian, as opposed to the people who do tell me their jokes that are like, I definitely should tell you this racist joke. But like, it's sort of the idea of the Dunning-Kruger effect, that the more you know, the less confident you are in what you know, because the more you know about how much you don't know. And the less you know, the more confident you are in what you think you know, because it's the only thing that you know, and you don't even know that you don't know, And so what I am saying is I am very confident right up until somebody says, are you sure? And then I'm like, no, definitely not. I don't know why you even thought that. So let's see, we've got 3 minutes left. I'm going to look back at the questions. What is your favorite city or club to perform in? Right now, it's my home, followed closely by the park near my home, where I sometimes go and yell into the air where it's safe to do so. I started out doing comedy in Boston. I love Boston. I love going to Portland, Oregon. I love Portland, Maine too. I love San Francisco, Austin, Chicago, Atlanta, Athens, DC. I love anywhere that asks me to be there and pays me money to do comedy there. That's what I would say. Portland is maybe my favorite city to visit, and I hope to get back there for sure. A question from Karen. Karen may come in with this question. So what does corporate clean really mean these days? I mean, I think that it means whatever the corporation wants it to mean. I think it makes sense for there to be a conversation between the organization or entity or venue or producer or whoever is doing the acquiring or hiring or inviting of the comedian, of the entertainment, of the art to be there, for them to say, this is what we'd like. And like, if I go to a college and I learn that it's a Catholic school, they might ask me to not do an hour of abortion jokes. And if I say I only do an hour of abortion jokes, they might say, well, maybe don't come to this school then. And so I can do what the comedy that I want to do in the places where I invite my audience to. And if I'm being invited to perform for an audience that isn't just people who know who I am and want whatever it is that I want to say, I will, of course, listen to and learn about and work with people to deliver a product and service and show and art even. I'll even make it art for your corporation based on the desires and needs. There is, they may ask me to convert. I will, for the right price, I will not be Jewish. And thank you so much, everyone, for being here. I appreciate that everyone has been here, is here, continues to be here. I will head on to Central Perk for at least a few minutes right after this. So if you have any more questions, I know it's time for us to leave this room and let whoever is next in this room be in this room. So thank you all for being in the room, and see you in another room or in a non-room, whenever and wherever it may be.
Woo! Yay, Mike! Woo!